what happened in 1975. So there was a specific situation arising that whether a particular judge who is not senior by age could be appointed as the Chief Justice of India. Because if you read Indian Constitution, especially article starting from 124 to 147, so there is a specific section about the constitutional setup of Supreme Court, which is called the judiciary, the Union Judiciary, right? So you will understand many things about the Indian judiciary about it. So we learn that if one has to be appointed, especially to the position of Supreme Chief Justice of India, he must be senior to all. Now, what happened in 1975? Indira Gandhi appointed Mr. Ray, and he was not senior though, and she superseded the three most senior judges. So then the question arose thereafter whether a young judge could be appointed to the position of Chief Justice of India.
Tell me, why do you think, and what the reason is that people in India are not ready to follow the rules and regulations? If you go to other countries, if you go to countries like America is also a democratic country, right? But you will find that people there are following rules and regulations. Everything has been being conducted as per as per the rules. Everything is being organized as per the rules, and people are following, they are abiding by all the rules. But why is it not happening in India? You can see that the people are ready to flout, they are ready to violate the rules. They don't even want to follow these rules. But if they go to other countries, the same people who are violating the rules right over here will be following the rules over there. Why do you think so?
In fact, recently there is I think demand from the people that why we should not allow constitution to be a part of academic, so that people and the students could know about the basic rights, right, in their elementary section, and that's how they could be more responsible towards the country. Because until you know your responsibilities, because right now or until now we have only understood about the constitution as the fundamental rights, but rarely people know about the fundamental duties. Because as long as you are not being responsible towards a nation, following all these fundamental duties, you cannot expect other to meet with your rights, right? So fundamental duties and fundamental rights are complementary to each other.
I've also read that India has also got the same kind of thing, like power sharing is also there. I mean, the central government is the supremo, and the other states have also been given some power. I mean, they are responsible for taking care of certain things within them. So if they can manage those things, they will not be looking up to the central government, and they are allowed. They are free. They can take the actions as per the requirement.
So one thing we can say certainly is that constitution cannot be effective if it is seen as just a piece of document, which means alone constitution has no existence more than a piece of paper. But as long as we people have that determination, the kind of interest, right, or the mindset, right, then I think we can really make the most out of the constitution.
If you stand at the crossing, you'll find that many people, this is very easy. People can understand when they have to leave, when they have to go, and when they have to stop. And the bikes, when the traffic light turns red, they have to stop. The traffic light turns green, they have to move. But you'll see that even if the traffic light is red, they're just moving, right? So they are not at all following these rules. So somewhere there is some problem, like either they're not willing to follow, or they don't really know what to follow and when to follow, right? Ravan, welcome. And as we know that every country has their own constitution, which is there to run the country. Same is the case with India as well. India has its own constitution. But the problem is, do you think that all the people of the country are aware of the constitution, the articles, and the rights and the duties which have been talked about, especially in the constitution? And constitution has been designed for the smooth smooth, you can say, operation of the country, right? So that it can easily operate, and the people will have all the facilities which they will be looking for, or they really need. But the thing is, do you think that constitution alone is enough or do you think the people of the country, especially they are the true pillars? No, the people of the democracy are no are the ones who really are important. What do you think? Before we go deeper into it, I want you to say something about it so that we can have some nice discussion on the same,
Okay.
and people will get to know about many things which they may not be aware of. Because I've talked to many people, I've met many people, and I know that many people are not at all aware of it, and
Right.
they don't even know what's there in the constitution,
Hmm.
and what are the rights. Even they don't know all the rights they have been given or they've been vested upon
Right.
by the constitution. So say a little about it so that we can have some nice conversation on the same.
Okay, good evening and good evening to everyone. Yes, we are talking about constitution. And to your question, I would only say one thing that yes, constitution is highly technical. So expecting people to know about it thoroughly, I think is futile. And I don't think people know much about the constitution. Yes, I do know that there is specific part of the constitution that is part 3 of the constitution that deals with fundamental rights, which is also known as Magna Carta. I think many people are aware about it because it is the only thing which, according to me, people find it uh, benefiting to them, right?
Yes.
Because as long as you know about your fundamental rights, you can ensure your protection at least and the people whom you love. So therefore, people literally understand about this Magna Carta, the fundamental rights, so that there could not be any problem, especially from the state side, right? So this is one part. And the second part is that constitution alone uh, cannot be effective and operative, because the basic line of the constitution that goes like this is that of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Yes.
So in all these three statements, what we find common and similar is the people. So without people, constitution cannot be, I think, operative and I mean, fulfilling the purpose, right? Because when the Constituent Assembly was set up for constituting this constitution, it was decided that it has certain purpose and it has to be achieved in a certain time period, right? So as long as we don't have the mindsets and the kind of passion, fervor to go and run along with the guidelines as laid down in the constitution, the purpose cannot be reached out, first of all. So you can understand one thing here is that constitution is just a piece of document, and if you really want to make it operative and functioning for the purpose to meet that last desirable result, then it is us people who have the power to run the constitution. And as long as we are fully determined and as well as unbiased, impartial, then I think we can really make it happen. Here we can produce the results that we really want the constitution to produce. So one thing we can say certainly is that constitution cannot be effective if it is seen as just a piece of document, which means alone constitution has no existence more than a piece of paper. But as long as we people have that determination, the kind of interest, right, or the mindset, right, then I think we can really make the most out of the constitution. So this is what is my understanding on.
So you simply want to say that a country is nothing itself.
Yes.
People are the one who make the country
Obviously.
what it is, right?
Obviously.
Otherwise, you can see that many countries are flourishing. So we cannot say that America is so prosperous.
Right.
America is prosperous because the people in America are very hardworking. They are, and they want to progress in their life.
right.
They want they are at the same time they are following the rules written by the Constitution, and they are maintaining the law as well. You can see the kind of law and governance which is there in America.
Right.
So if somebody does something wrong, so there is a very heavy punishment for that, and those who are doing well, they are also rewarded there.
Right.
So this is what is making America is a superpower in the world, right? And it is superpower because the people are there very much hardworking, and they love the country, they love the things over there. And then similar same things are applicable to India as well. If the people of the country are also showing the same kind of fervor
Yeah.
in maintaining the law and
Order, right.
order in the country, and they're also following the rules which are there in the country,
Hmm.
and they are also abiding by everything which was
Hmm.
being laid down by the constitution. I think we can also see the same kind of growth, similar
Right.
growth in India as well, right? So first thing which we have to talk about is, tell me, can a well written document, can a well written constitution operate effectively or function effectively if the citizens of the country are apathetic towards
Hmm.
it, or they are uninformed about it? What do you think?
Okay, first of all, since we are talking about that part where we have seen as right now people are becoming apathetic to constitution, as well as some people are uninformed about the constitution. So these two things are different. But according to me, both make constitution a little bit weaker. Why?
Hmm.
Because it somewhere precludes the constitution to effect to make it to be more effective,
Hmm.
especially in the society.
Hmm.
Because if you are apathetic towards constitution, which means you are ignoring the values of the constitution, you are somewhere, subsiding the significance of the constitutions, considering it just a piece of paper. So I think this approach has to be, first of all, diluted. Secondly, we need to understand what actually constitution is all about, and what are those predominating parts of the constitutions, so that we can understand, how constitution works. People really don't understand, what democracy is all about, and what democratic country is all about. And until you understand this very core essence of the constitution, we cannot, simplify or understand what constitution means to people like us, especially the country who has faced hundreds years of tyranny and subservience, right?
Hmm.
Whether it could be from different dynasties or the English establishments, right? So this apathetic towards constitution has to be removed and eliminated. And how it could happen? Only through your personal inclination. When personal inclination develops towards constitution, people start understanding and start valuing the constitution. Many people really don't find constitution more effective because they find it is just a kind of rule book.
Hmm.
And we also know the current condition of the country is that we don't have sufficient administrative services. I mean, proportionate to the increasing population, right? So we don't have that kind of surveillance in the country where we can make every rule effectively operative, right?
Hmm.
Just because of we don't have the force, right? Because every rule that comes in the society, it has to be enforced first in the society.
Yes.
And it is only possible when we have that administrative services available, which I think India lacks somewhere. And therefore, it's, according to me, it brings us a sense is that the constitution is just a piece of paper, because many people we see are blatantly flouting the rules and the
Hmm.
regulations and the
Yes.
instructions of the constitution, and therefore they find constitution is just like a rule book, and there is nothing as such, repercussion that it could produce, even when as a citizen of the country, violates or breaks any particular rule of the constitution, as it has happened many a time. Right. So this first problem has to be eliminated, means this apatheticness towards the constitution must be, I think, reduced. And it could be done only when we develop this inclination towards constitution. So start understanding the word democracy first, and try to understand, especially in the Indian context, which is
Hmm.
really important.
Hmm.
Because what we see today being a part of this country is that we have this only country which is in the existence just 70 or 75 years back, from starting from 1947,
Hmm.
and which is not right. Second part, you are talking about that uninformed. This is the second, I think, problem with the people are informed, but they have gathered some, I think, misinformation, you can say, or maybe they are not informed properly.
Or they are pretending to be uninformed.
They are pretending to be uninformed, you can say, uh, because of the, as I told you, because of the situation, because of the examples that we see around
Hmm.
us.
Hmm.
When we see one person is flouting the rule of a society,
Hmm.
then we get feel, or we feel that
If he can flout the
and
rules, then
then
why
obviously
can't
we
I?
can,
Why can't
obviously.
I? Yes.
So this is how it becomes. So ultimately what we can say, that constitution is more than a piece of document which is known as, which should be considered as a living piece of document, which goes along with the need of the society. As the society is changing, so is the constitution is changing, right? And if we understand it, then we can really make the most out of the constitution. And I think that is a need of the current hour.
Hmm.
Yes.
So you simply want to say, as you said that this sense of responsibility should be inculcated in people,
Right.
and if they are not at all, responsible, then they cannot be doing the things which are mentioned in the constitution.
Obviously.
So, this is off the track. Actually,
Hmm.
this is not the part of the conversation. But I'm asking you this question. Tell me, why do you think, and what the reason is that people in India are not ready to follow the rules and regulations. If you go to other countries, if you go to countries like America is also a democratic country, right? But you'll find that people there are following rules and regulations.
Hmm.
Everything is been
Hmm.
being conducted as per
Hmm.
as per the rules. Everything is being organized as per the
Hmm.
rules, and people are following, they are abiding by all the rules.
Hmm.
But why is it not happening in India? You can see that the people are ready to flout, they are ready to violate the rules. They don't even want to follow these rules. If they go to other countries, the same people
Hmm.
who are violating the rules right over here
Hmm.
will be following the rules over there. Why do you think so? Why is it so?
See, it is simply because of the nature of Indians. And this nature, according to me, that runs and gets, oxygen from the people around them. How do they conduct themselves in the society?
Hmm.
How do we govern ourselves through the inspiration of what we get from other people? So when we see some people around us blatantly flouting rules, we get confidence, right? And then we start doing the same. Second most important reason, which is considerable here, is that due to lack of administrative vigilance. Okay, some people don't find, this, blatant violations of the rule
Hmm.
as serious as
Hmm.
should have been taken.
Hmm.
For example, when we go and I think meet with those, regulations of this of the road transport, some police officers really don't do their jobs very seriously,
Hmm. Hmm.
and they see the people are just flouting the rules very openly
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
without giving any respect to the people standing there,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So this sincerity is not being paid out by these people, administrative officers,
Hmm.
and that gives them confidence, the other side, right? So
Hmm.
I think this is the second reason probably. And the third most important, obviously, I mean, if you compare, America with India, you will say that Americans are highly educated
Hmm. Hmm.
comparing to Indians. Secondly, many people who violate rules, especially in the country, really don't know about the rules that they have violated,
Hmm.
just because of their, as you told rightly,
They're
that
not ready to accept.
they are not ready to accept. Most of the time they say that they were not aware of the about the rule, that the rule exists.
Hmm.
So if you really don't know about the rule, that the rule is existing, and if you then flout the rule, then you will consider yourself, I think, a victim, just because of you don't have that understanding about the rule, that certain rule exists in the constitution book, right?
Hmm.
So I mean, this is one of those few reasons for which I find, many certain cases happen in India where we find that people are disrespecting constitution and the values of the constitutions, right?
If you stand at the crossing, you'll find that many people, they this is very easy. People can understand, when they have to leave, when they have to go, and when they have to stop. And
Hmm.
the bikes, when the traffic light turns
Hmm.
red, they have to stop. The
Right,
traffic
right,
light turns, green, they
right,
have to move.
right, right,
But
right,
you'll see that, even if the traffic light is red, they're just moving,
right.
right? So they are not at all, following these rules. So somewhere, there is some problem. Like,
Hmm.
either they're not willing to follow, or
Hmm.
they don't really know what to follow and when to follow, right?
They sometimes they know about the rules, but just because of the population. See,
Mm-hmm.
we have the population as an issue in the country,
Mm-hmm.
and we know that the road is full of crowd, the road
Mm-hmm.
especially. So in this case, I find that sometimes people find it really hard,
So
right?
they have to move
To
fast,
yes, they have to
they
move.
have no problem.
Yes, obviously. So their people are educated, but as well as the environment is so, the ambience is so peaceful and calm. I
Hmm.
think it is also.
Yeah. So the next thing which we have to discuss is, tell me, is blind faith, especially I'm talking about the blind faith. Is blind faith in constitutional institutions dangerous if citizens stop holding them accountable?
Uh, okay, first of all, let's understand that we are talking about constitution, right?
Yes.
So we are possibly talking about the bodies of the constitution.
Yes.
So we have numerous bodies of the
Hmm.
constitution, such as we have the legislation system, we have the judiciary system,
Executive is also there.
executive is also there, right? So I mean, these are the highly responsible constitutional bodies in
Hmm.
the country.
Hmm.
I mean, these bodies, are so responsible that everything needs to be dealt properly, is what is their concern,
Hmm.
right? So if you hold constitution as the only factor or as the only reason which helps us govern the country, without accepting the fact that this is the constitution which is also having certain components, and among those components are these important bodies,
Yes.
and unless these bodies are properly guided and properly do their work as they are willing to do, as they're
Hmm.
supposed to do, then whatsoever written in the constitution, I think, cannot be
It will go in
effective
waste.
and
It will go in
operative.
waste because
Obviously it is
no
going,
people are taking, taking it seriously.
obviously. So the things that comes out here is that yes, we need to uh, uh, I think uphold the constitution first,
Hmm.
but at the same time we also hold the constitutional bodies accountable
Hmm.
for their work, for their assignments for which they are elected, right? For example, we have the judiciary system,
Hmm. Hmm.
and judiciary system is there to check about the fundamental rights being violated or not.
Hmm.
There are other several works that actually falls in the ambit of the judiciary system.
Hmm.
But let's take an example that judiciary system ensures that fundamental rights to be properly and smoothly practiced in the
Hmm.
country by the
Hmm.
citizens. And if state comes out and interferes, especially in this particular matter, then it is the right of the citizens that they could use Article 32 and file a case against the state government for state governments being violative about the fundamental right of a particular
Hmm.
citizens,
Hmm.
right? Now in this case, if the judiciary system turns blind and doesn't respond it the way it should be, then obviously there'll be complete failure of the constitution.
Yeah.
Secondly, if you still remain silent and mute on all this thing happening before you, then ultimately we are letting this constitutional know, these bodies know that you can do whatsoever you want to do because the power lies in you,
Hmm.
right? So in this way, what we are ensuring is that the constitution cannot be effective as it could be. Secondly, we are giving power, enormous power in the hand of these constitutional bodies. So the kind of purpose that we are looking for to meet up, as it was decided during the constitutional meeting,
Hmm.
I think can never be reached, according to me. And therefore, I always say that until unless you hold these constitutional bodies accountable for their conducts, I think we cannot make country better and complete robust democracy, right? If you go to America or
Hmm.
other abroad countries, you will find that there is a separation of power as a particular principle,
Hmm.
and all these different bodies, constitutional bodies, are supreme in their own domain.
Hmm.
So there is no right you know to interfere in each other's domain, right? So that is how they deal with it. The same principle, the same rule is applied in India or to the Indian constitutional bodies.
So,
But
as far as I know, I've also read that India has also got the same kind of thing, like power sharing is also there. I mean, the central government is the supremo, and the other states have also been given some power. I mean, they
right.
are responsible for taking care of certain things, within
Mm,
them. So, if they can manage those things, they will not be looking up to the central government,
mm,
and they're allowed.
mm.
They are free. They can take the actions
Yeah.
as per the requirement. So isn't it there in India? This is
No,
not what I know
no,
about
it
it.
is. It is also. I mean, there are some state subjects, center subject, and concurrent subjects.
Hmm.
So, what are laid down in the state subjects? So, it is the state has a right to deal with those subjects, and center has no power to intervene in the matter.
Hmm.
And so is with the center. But
Hmm.
there is also a third section which is called concurrent section, which
Okay.
means this is falling under both
Okay.
state and center.
Hmm.
But center this still has supremacy on most of the matters,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So, center can intervene into the matter of state as long as there is a bit of challenging kind of issue arising, and mostly it is seen as a threat to the national interest, something like this. But what I'm talking about, which is also important, separation of power is which means that one particular constitution body interfering into the matter of other. For example, what happened in 1975. So there was a specific situation arising that whether a particular judge who is not senior by age could be appointed as the Chief Justice of India. Because if you read Indian Constitution, especially article starting from 124 to 147, so there is a specific section about the constitutional setup of Supreme Court, which is called the judiciary, the Union Judiciary, right? So you will understand many things about the Indian judiciary about it. So we learn that if one has to be appointed, especially to the position of Supreme Court Chief Justice of India, he must be senior to all. Now, what happened in 1975? Indira Gandhi appointed Mr. Ray, and he was not senior though, and she superseded the three most senior judges. So then the question arose thereafter whether a young judge could be appointed to the position of Chief Justice of India. And it was seen as a blatant violation of the Constitution. I mean, imagine if people wouldn't have or hadn't, I think, raised their voice against Indira Gandhi regime, then what then would have been the status of the Constitution then? And thereafter, 1977, as soon as this particular emergency was almost ceased and terminated, so the Indira Gandhi government was thrown out of the regime, right? So that was the effect of the decision particularly being taken by the Indira Gandhi. And that could be only possible because of the vigilance and the attentive attitude of the people around, because they realize the importance of the Constitution, and in this way they tried to implement it, that even you are the Prime Minister of the country, you don't have a right to go against the writings or the instructions of the Constitution. So if it has been already written that the Chief Justice of India must be senior to all and has only criteria for this, then you can appoint. Otherwise, you don't have the right to appoint a young judge.
Okay. So as we talked about these three bodies being responsible for many things. So suppose the body in a specific body is not carrying out its responsibility, which it is supposed to, and somebody finds it guilty of violating all those things. So how can it be possible? Means can a person do something about it? I mean, if the specific body is not coming up to the expectations of the people, then can somebody do something about it? If yes, then how?
See, first of all, if a particular body is not meeting with kind of criteria, right? So the body can be challenged by the people like us through petition, right?
Okay.
We file the petition in the Supreme Court and let the Supreme Court know about this anomalies that is taking place in the Constitution, which is going beyond the framework being set up of the Constitution. And accordingly, the Supreme Court comes and intervenes into the matter and tries to solve the issue. The second thing is that if a particular constitutional body is not able to meet up with the kind of result that it is trying to achieve, then I think it could be manipulated, it could be rectified, it could be changed according to the circumstances, or it could be even improved further, right? By introducing more important components or different steps, or you can say different arrangements could also be made so that the problem could be reached. This is the second issue. But what I'm talking is that what happens when you become completely blind to those laid down instructions, and you, I mean, blatantly just violate those rules, which means you completely disregard the Constitution and constitutional values. And ultimately you are disregarding the democratic setup for which we are known. And that's what happened in 1975, and it keeps happening. It is only we as a citizen of the country who understand that how it is happening, why it is happening, and as soon as we start raising our voice, the things become public, and thereafter we see the changes, as what happened especially 1975. So the question that you asked, right, that if we continue this constitutional body to to do the things they are doing,
Hmm.
and we keep ourselves silent and mute,
Hmm.
then would that be
What can a person do about it?
obviously, and whether the constitution would be existing then probably no. Constitution cannot be existing thereafter, otherwise there'll be complete failure of the mechanism of the constitution, because rightly we talked right in the beginning of this discussion is that it is we who makes the constitution, and this is the constitution for us also. So until we show participation,
Hmm.
especially in the constitution, then I think constitution cannot be the way it should be.
Hmm.
Yes.
Okay, the next thing which we have to talk about is, tell me how citizens. Oh, before I ask you this question, I want one
Hmm.
more thing I would like to ask you is,
Hmm.
tell me, as you said that we can do something about it, but as you know that suppose it is somewhere favoring the government,
Hmm.
and all the people who are the powerful people, right, sitting there, and then somebody wants to say something or do something about it, and because the body didn't come up to the expectations of the
Right.
people. So I think their voices can be suppressed. So what can people do about it? Because the body, which was responsible, and if he goes to the court, I think the judge will also be, because this happens.
Yeah.
The party which is ruling party,
Hmm.
and the government which is in power, often the decisions goes in favor of the government and the people who are the powerful people. So in this particular case, what can a person do? I mean, how can justice be delivered?
See, what is the beautiful thing about the country India, and especially about the constitution as a setup that we have, is that even when we find ourselves not in that position to counter that strong and just this massive force,
Hmm.
right? Then even we have a chance to grow and fight courageously against all this. How? Because this country is governed by the central government, right?
Yes.
And against it is a opposition. So opposition is always in the stronger position than central government. How?
Hmm.
Because when a certain issues are raised, and especially by a common person, then it becomes a feed of the opposition party to take care of that.
And then the ruling party is always under
Yes,
pressure.
ruling party is always under pressure. So ruling party always ensures that the citizens' problem to be solved out anyhow,
Hmm.
and it should not be misled, or it should not be misguided, or it should not be treated the way it should not be.
Hmm.
So in this way, what we find is that even a common citizen like us, a layman person, can be given a huge security. Is what happened in the Vyapam Ghotala case, the
Hmm.
scam case. What happened?
Hmm.
He was just a common person,
Yeah.
and he the one who revealed out about the scheme, and thereafter it was the central government who provided the security to that man, because the central government had to provide it just because it was the pressure on him
Hmm.
or on it by the opposition or the entire, because we have the media, the fourth pillar, right?
Yes.
And the media continuously serving information to all the people, right? So central government may be the superpower of the country. It has the power to even sometimes govern or dictate the main constitutional bodies, including judiciary sometimes. But it cannot go beyond that limit,
Hmm.
which could not be acceptable to the common people like us.
Hmm.
Otherwise, it may turn out to be a revolution, another revolution,
The
right?
government may be overthrown.
Government, obviously, it could be or it must be
Hmm.
under certain circumstances. The history tells about it,
Hmm.
how these revolutions, French revolutions happened
Yeah,
just because of the same reason.
yes, because they were now it was too much actually. They
Too
couldn't
much of,
tolerate anymore, and
yes,
that's why they had to go against.
this last straw.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
what you consider the
that
last
breaks the
straw.
camel's back.
Yes, obviously. Then there is no superpower, I think, that could withstand the force of the citizens, and we the powerful force of the
Yes.
country.
So the next thing which we have to discuss is, tell me how do the citizens-led movements shape the meaning and enforcement of constitutional values?
Uh, Constitutional values. So this question is really important, because it tells us the significance of movements and revolutions that really helps shape the constitution. Constitution is nothing but rules and the instructions that we have talked about,
Yeah.
but it is also inspired by number of revolutions, by number of movements. And all we know about these revolution and movement that these are carried out for a great cause most of the times. So
Hmm.
if we are running in a campaign, then we are doing it for the rightful purpose, right? Otherwise certain revolutions, certain campaigns are not allowed in the country, because the democratic setup doesn't allow let this thing happen. To be
Hmm.
very honest,
Hmm.
if your campaign is legal or is serving a wrongful objective or having a wrongful objective, then the constitution itself will deny and cancel the entire campaign, and this way you will not carry it out further.
Hmm.
But if you have a campaign having a great objective to achieve, and this is for the betterment of the country, then it really adds much value to the constitution. So therefore these movements and revolutions, really help a lot in building up the constitution, because as we talked about, constitution is not just a piece of document, it is
Hmm.
a living piece of document,
Hmm.
because it is continuously changing according to the changes of the society, right?
Yes.
And these revolutions and the movements continuously, push more changes into the constitution. So for example, chipko movement, I know about
Yes.
it a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chipko movement, that was all about when in Uttar Pradesh there was the entire forest was under
So
threat.
the people were sticking themselves to
Stick.
the trees.
Yes, yes, yes,
Hmm.
yes. And there was a large level of deforestation as a
Yeah.
campaign was
So they were
carrying.
not letting the people
Yes,
to fell the trees.
absolutely. Right. So this particular revolution, brought a new concept in the constitution. I
Hmm.
think Article 41 something
Hmm.
A that deals with this environment. 1986 EIA, Environmental Protection Environmental Act 1986, right? That is what is inspired by this movement. So
Hmm.
that's how we get inspiration from these movements, and how do we get changes in the constitution itself. Like, right, for example, we also know education, right?
Yeah.
Education was not a fundamental right before,
Hmm.
but after 86th amendment, we got to know the importance of the education, and thereafter education was decided to be serving to the people, to a certain age of people, right?
Hmm.
Children,
Hmm.
for free,
Yeah.
right?
14, I
And
think, up to 14.
14, yes. So that then it became a part of Article 21.
Hmm.
So you can find a relation between the revolution and these campaigns carrying out at the same time, as well as its impact, which could be visibly seen in the constitution, because Article 21 of the Indian Constitution talks about right to life, and in that right to life is included about right to education, because without education there is no life.
Yes.
So how it is inspired, right? There are a number of revolutions. I mean CA, I mean NRC,
Yes.
when all people like doing this revolution against the government, that you cannot throw people out just because of someone is missing certain documents to prove their authenticity as a
Hmm.
citizen of the country.
Hmm.
So it was seen as a part of Article 21 again, because right to life.
Hmm.
Right. So all these things, I think movements, revolutions, I think make a big difference in the constitution, as long as these campaigns are running for the rightful purpose. But I still
And
believe,
and
yeah,
then they don't tarnish the reputation of the, or you can say, decorum.
decorum of the country.
Yeah.
But this is very acceptable if your campaign, if your purpose that you are following throughout the campaign is illegal or is
Hmm.
held illegal,
Hmm.
or your particular campaign is doing something mischievous things,
Hmm.
right? Which is not going consistently with the purpose of the
Hmm.
country, right? Or is causing threat to the national integrity or
Hmm.
whatsoever, or disturbing public, order. Then I think such movements are not even allowed in the first place.
Hmm.
So that's how we can find a correlation between constitutions building up
Hmm.
and the simultaneously going on these campaigns and revolutions. Yes.
So whatever the changes we have seen so far, whatever the improvements we have seen so far, are the result of the people or citizens-led campaigns.
Right.
Because when the need arises, then we start launching some, campaigns. We start, doing some,
Right.
some, you can say, sometimes we also go against the government, because we need certain, we want certain changes in the country,
Right. Right.
and which are really indispensable,
Hmm.
right? So the next thing which we have to discuss is, this is last but not the least. The question is, are we raising future citizens to understand the Constitution as a living document, or merely as a textbook?
Okay, there has been a great discussion on that. In fact, recently there is, I think, demand from the people that why we should not allow constitution to be a part of academic,
Hmm.
so that people and the students could know about the basic rights, right, in their elementary section. and that's how they could be more responsible towards the country. Because until you know your responsibilities, because right now or until now we have only understood about the constitution as the fundamental rights,
Yes.
but rarely people know about the fundamental duties.
Yes.
Because as long as you are not being responsible towards the nation, following all these fundamental duties, you cannot expect other to meet up with your rights, right? So
Yes.
fundamental duties and fundamental rights are complementary to each other.
They go hand in hand.
Obviously they go hand in hand, right? So this I think if we really want to make people educated on this, first of all we have to present this constitution as a part of a study to these students right in the beginning of education, so that they could develop a sense as well as develop a sense of responsibility at the same time, right? And could be more mature about this constitution and its value, because
And they will have a better understanding.
They will have a better understanding. Constitution is what that gives us this opportunity to call ourselves a democratic country.
Yes.
And if this constitution doesn't I think meet up with this purpose, then what kind of democratic country we are living in is the questions
Yes.
that we must ask, right?
Yes.
So I think the question is that piece of paper, I think yes, people might take it as a piece of paper, right? And the word piece of paper is being used to just connote or to just interpret one thing, is that we are not taking it seriously, according to me,
Yes.
right? What is written and it is not operative,
And it
right?
is not reflective in the actions of the people.
Obviously it is not reflective in the actions of people, just because of the lack of sincerity, the lack of I think responsibilities, and secondly lack of administrative I mean compulsion. Unless you have a compelling force on you, I think these constitutions and the instructions laid down in the constitution cannot be abided by, to be very
Yes.
honest, because
That is correct.
we humans are by nature animals, right? We are
We need
byproduct
to
of animals.
we need to be guided. We need to be forced at times.
Obviously.
We need to be driven, right? Just like animals. Otherwise, we will always be, sitting back and, we'll be kicking back and relaxing. We will not be ready to do anything because there is no compelling force.
And what we are doing, by the way, what we are doing is that we are expecting people to be guided by their morals, where there is no availability of punishment. And I think it is not possible in the 21st century.
Without punishment, people will not realize.
Obviously.
They will never realize, because you might have seen that. Just let's take the example of students. If they don't have exams, they don't study, because there is
Obviously.
no reason, there is no compelling force. When they find that they have put their exams around the corner, they start hitting the books, because now they know that if they don't study, they won't be able to go through, get through the exams, and that's why they start studying. Same is the case with people as well. If there is no compelling force, if there is no punishment, people that then will not be taking the thing seriously. As you can see, if there is no such thing like you can say people are punished when they violate the traffic rules. So if there is no such punishment, I think nobody will be caring,
Right.
because what if they jump the lights?
Obviously.
There's no problem at all.
There is no at all
And
problem.
why would a thief not be picking pockets? Why? Because there is no punishment. He will be doing all these things. So then there will be a chaotic situation. There will be lawlessness in the whole country.
Obviously.
So punishment means punishment is there to make people behave a certain way. Otherwise, nobody cares then.
And therefore, we have this option. And the option is that whether you want let the people be governed by the punishment and then allow people to follow this instruction, or let them be knowledgeable and informative, right, about the constitutional values, right, way before, especially their 18 ages, especially in their school time, so that they could be more responsible by the time they reach 21 or their adult franchisee age, where they have a right to cast their vote, right? So I mean, we have this option. So I think therefore, people say that it is the right time to introduce this particular book, Constitution, to students right in the beginning, so that these students could develop a little more sincerity about the constitution and also inspire other about the constitutional values. Because if you today don't follow constitutions, or may or try to defile it, right, so you are, trust me, weakening constitution. And once the constitution weakens, I mean, it leads to anarchism. And we know the results of anarchism, that it leads to a complete extermination of all those values on which the country could be called a real country, a robust country.
Hmm.
Yes.
Yes. So this is, we what we wanted to talk about, and this is, now very clear that constitution is nothing if the people are not actually following what's written
Mm.
in it. Otherwise, it is just a piece of paper,
Right.
right? But we must realize that rules are there to be followed, and there are so many rules which people need to know, and if they are following these rules, so they can make this country like other countries, and
Mm.
we can even surpass those countries,
Right.
because somewhere we if we are lagging behind, if we
Mm.
are not able to reach a certain
Mm.
position, so somewhere we are responsible, and if we start following those things, then we can also make this country like America. We can also surpass America, and then
Right.
it is not a big deal, because we are almost 142 crore people, and if we all are doing a level best, then the day will not be far when we will be we will be topping the chart
Right. Right.
of the powerful countries,
Right.
right? So with this, I'm taking a leave, and we will be coming with the next episode of this channel, right? Till then, take care.
Bye.